morning, folks. Welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So, I am going to be working on Little John again.
What?
Yeah. And this week we're going to do a lot of tearing down. Probably not a whole lot of fixing, but definitely a lot of tearing down. Biggest thing I've got right now is I did finally order some tires. All these tires are just plumb shot. So I got to get the old tires off. Already got the front ones. Got to get those guys off. I figure since I'm going to have those off, I can at least check out the rear brakes, see what's going on there. I also ordered some parts for the fuel system. So I got a new fuel pump. I don't recall what else I ended up ordering. Some line, maybe some clamps. I don't recall. Fuel filters. I did order that. But in preparation for that, I'm going to probably need to go ahead and drop the tanks. So got 2 tanks, good old square body, got saddle tanks. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the passenger tank, drop the driver tank, take a look at them, see what we got, if they're salvageable or not. Hopefully they are, or at least one of them. I could buy new tanks. It's about $180 a piece, I want to say. I can't remember. So roughly $200 after shipping. I'm on the fence about keeping these. I know these running boards, especially the ones that flare out for the dualies, they're harder to come by. The front one, it doesn't have it. So I think for now, I'm at least going to go ahead and take off everything and get these out of the way. Because really, it just kind of looks goofy having just the rear ones on here. I did find a set on Facebook Marketplace that goes up here. But it's like a 2 or 3, I think it's actually a 3 or 4 hour drive away down in Georgia. Good price, but yeah, that's a long time to drive just to go buy a set of running boards. So I may continue kind of hunting around here because I know they pop up every once and again. I think it'd be kind of cool to still have the running boards on it. But so pretty much today's going to be a lot of tearing down stuff. So going to pull the running boards off, going to drop the gas tanks. I got to pull these wheels off. We're going to inspect the brakes, maybe get the bleed in the rear brakes, and beyond that, I don't know. But like I said, I did order some new tires. I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on tires because I was like, I don't know if we're going to stick with the 16s, the factory ones, or if we're going to go to, I would love to get a set of semis, the 22.5 semi wheels on here, but that's some money right there. I can find the wheels for around about 100, 150 a wheel. I really only need 4 of them. I could run a steel for the inner. But would need, at least 4 of them. But then I got to take them, go get them turned. I can't remember the numbers. I want to say it was you turn an 1/8 inch on the bead, on the inner bead, if I remember correctly. Get those turned and then polish them up and all that fun stuff, and you can put a 22-inch tire on them. But I would have to get 8-lug to 10-lug adapters, and then I have to buy 22-inch tires. So rough figuring, if I can do it as budget friendly as possible, I'm still going to spend about as much as I spent on the whole damn truck. So I have a hard time pulling that trigger. So for now, we're just going to rock the factory ones. I haven't decided if I'm going to stick with the simulators or paint these guys a color. That may happen. I don't know. I'm not sure the exact color I would want to go with. I don't think I want to do black on this one like I did with Big John. Black would kind of not work here. Maybe white, red and white go together pretty well. And then that would also play into my future plans with the truck for paint scheme if I stick with the truck. So maybe paint them white. I don't think gray would work out too well for this. I think it'd just kind of be a little, but maybe go white. I don't know. If y'all guys got any thoughts on that, drop a comment down below on what color you think might work, or go with the simulators. I actually have a set of simulators that I bought for Big John. They're way up there. Ended up not using them, but although I did steal the center caps to go on Big John, so center caps are spoken for. I'd probably have to buy another set because I don't think I can buy the center caps. But anyways, So I've already got the air compressor pumped up. Did that this morning when I came out here to kick the heat on because it was a little chilly. So I guess let's just jump right in and start pulling these wheels. All right, wheels are off, and we can see that the previous owner took great care in this and spray painted the silver, and did it in the best way possible, so there's no paint flaking off or flecks of it. Just kind of ended up all over the floor. But I'll probably end up coming back and shooting this guy with some black just to make it kind of fade in. We'll prep it a little bit better, but yeah. That's all right, I suppose. So I do need to verify that these rear brakes are working, and probably go ahead and bleed them and go through that whole thing. The only real issue is I can't remember how these drums come off. I want to say I got to pull this flange out, which means I got to pull the axle. I think I can't remember. It's been a few years since I did Big John, but this is all one piece if I remember correctly, or it bolts up somewhere, does something. I don't freaking remember, so I'm gonna have to look that up. So we're not gonna worry about that right now. Right now we're gonna worry about, since I got room, I can see stuff, I can take this guy off. This apparently used to be a mud flap bracket. My guess is the tire slung a tread and it grabbed hold of the mud flap and ripped the mud flap off. Bent the bracket really, really good. You can see that guy's pretty tweaked. It also broke that bracket, which I believe holds or helps to hold the fender on. You can see it's pulled loose from this bolt. This bolt's not even tight. It's missing a bolt right here, and of course it's broken there. So I'll go ahead and I'll pull the mud flap bracket off. That looks to be, I don't even want to say easy, but it doesn't look to be too terribly difficult. That may come back to bite me. And then in here, I can go ahead and start pulling like these screws off that hold it into the fender. There's 3 of them. Go ahead and get those 3 pulled loose. I can take this bracket right here off, and then I need to trace down. There's a little white wire right there. You can see. I got to figure out where that goes because I'm guessing that goes to these little running lights. So I suppose that's what's next. Go ahead and get this thing out of the way. That way that's one less thing for me to worry about, cutting my arm on or getting hung up on when it comes time to actually drop the tanks. So I'm going to get to that, and I'll be back. Well, that's a fun way to spend a solid half hour or so. A lot of very rusty bolts. And I think they are like the worst hardware you could have because they were just, every one of them was seized. I think I broke 3 out of 1, 2, 6. All right, 50%. One good thing is I found a 14 millimeter cobalt wrench just hanging. It's already paying off. So I'll throw this one in the toolbox after I clean it up because she's a little she's a little spotty, a little rusty. I'll clean that one up a little bit. And we'll throw her back in the toolbox. Then we'll have another 14. All right, so now we have no brackets and no running boards on the truck. So just kind of threw everything back here. This is the parts bin for the truck. It's kind of where I'm throwing everything for now until I figure out if I'm going to keep it, sell it, whatever. So, all right. I got the passenger sides done. Still got to get the driver's side, so I figure since I'm already just really filthy from walling around on the ground for half hour, I figure I'll go over to the driver's side, get that one banged out real quick, and then we'll move on to something else. Well, passenger side came off super easy. Like I said, maybe a half hour. I just spent probably an hour, hour and 15 pulling the driver's side off. It looks like these suckers use an old erector set to put this thing together up underneath the truck. And also the bolt that goes right around in here. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, this guy. And then this guy, you might notice there's some scuffage around there. I had to grind the head of the bolts off. They were so seized up, I couldn't get them to break. I couldn't get nothing to happen. So I just got my grinder out, basically just feathering back and forth till I cut the head of the bolt pretty much all the way off and then knocked it out with a punch. So, all right, we got running boards off. I doubt I'm going to put them back on just because that was a pain in the ass. So, and if I do end up lowering this thing, it really doesn't need the running boards. I think next on the list is dropping the fuel tanks because I need to see if they're even salvageable. And if they are salvageable, then I need to clean them up and do all that fun crap. If not, I need to get a tank or two ordered, or actually look at doing the Suburban tank conversion on this guy. Because I do have a Suburban tank or a K5 tank. I don't remember which I bought. In order to drop the tank, in case you haven't done that on a good old square body truck, you've got behind the fuel door, unless you're like 78 and older, then you don't have a fuel door. You gotta take the cap off, and whew, yeah, she still stinks. But you got these 3 bolts here. I'm gonna put that cap on. Dang, it's stout. So you got those 3 bolts there. You got to pull those off, and you have to leave the cap off in order for everything to pull through and slide out and go down, because you know you kind of have the fuel neck to get out of there. And on this truck, we actually have, oh, let's get down here. On this truck, I've actually got this plastic cover that covers up the entire fuel tank. I was looking at it earlier. I've got a bolt here, bolt there, and I think there's one up here on the corner and another one back over here somewhere. So I've got to get that plastic off. That way I can get to the actual, you know, fuel tank mounting brackets. And those are literally mounted right up against the frame, and there are 4 bolts for each bracket. So 8 bolts total. Then once you get her down, you've got to disconnect your ground wire, your ground strap, disconnect your fuel level sending unit wire, disconnect that guy. If it's got an electric fuel pump, you have to disconnect the electrical connections, and then drop off your, what is it? Your feed, your vent, and your return. If so equipped. So you got to pull all that stuff off. Then you can get the tank out of the way and, you know, go through all that stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's get started on that. All right, folks. So, yeah, I just kind of jumped right in and started going and didn't grab the camera. So I went ahead and I pulled the driver's tank out, you know, in hopes that maybe the tank's salvageable. Went ahead and pulled lock ring off. Yeah, I ended up just cutting these because they're really in bad shape, these hoses. So, I don't think the tank's salvageable, which means that other tank's probably not salvageable. So, yeah, let me see if I can get my light set up here. Y'all ready for this? Because I really wish I could smell how pungent this is. It's, Whew! So I might have been pulling from this tank, but you know, right off the bat, you can kind of see my sending unit. Yeah, that's not in good shape. Sock might have a little bit of, you know, a little bit of stuff on it. Let's get the float out. Yeah, sock might have, you know, just a little bit of contaminants. Woo! God almighty. Hang on, I gotta go open up this door. Whew! This is pretty bad. So, yeah, I'm gonna say this tank's shot. There's not much saving any of that. Whew. I can taste it. Actually, I'm gonna put the sending unit back in because, damn it, man, that's stout. Oh, I think I just upset the hive. Jesus. Whew. Okay, so you know, whenever I dropped this tank, it didn't sound hollow. I never heard any sloshing. There was no sloshing to be had. And once I set it down on the ground, it didn't sound hollow. It just kind of went thud. And I was like, that's a bad sign. Driver's side tank, that thing's shot. I'm going to have to get another tank for driver's side. I guess I'll actually turn the camera on this time. We'll drop the passenger side tank. I'm not expecting anything better on the passenger side. I'm actually pretty much expecting it to do the exact same thing. So, yeah, let's. Oh God, whew. I'm gonna put that thing outside. It is fiercely strong. It's very angry. It's so bad. Maybe that was what I was pulling the fuel out of whenever I was, you know, trying to drain the tank. I don't know. But that smells a lot like what, you know, pretty much burned up my pump over here. So, yeah, I guess I'm let this place air out a little bit, and then we'll drop that passenger tank and see if it's any better. Not real hopeful on that. So, yeah, brain cells are leaving as we speak. So, all right, I got to clean this crap up. I'll be back. All right, over here on the passenger side, there was 2 extra bolts that I forgot to mention. There's one up in here, and then one a little further up over there. Those are a little rough to get to, but it's doable. So, all right, let's knock these out real fast. All right, plastic cover is now loose. The 2 bolts out here are done, the 2 bolts here are done, the one back there and the one up there, they're all loose or off. So now we can make a giant mess and drop this down. You could probably drop the gas tank without pulling this, but pulling this gives you a little bit more room to operate with getting to the fuel lines and all the wires and all that crap. So I like to pull this part off. A little bit of dirt. It's almost out. Well, that's a nice little surprise. It's a replacement tank. It's obviously got a little rust going on down here. But yeah, this tank's been replaced at one point. So that's a good sound. So I'm hoping that this tank's okay. And it sounds good. It doesn't have that dead thud to it. It's got a nice hollow sound. So more than likely it's completely empty. It may have some surface rust in it. I don't know. We'll find out once we get into it a little bit. So this side has an added difficulty of this heat shield. Let's see. Yeah, that heat shield, which is protecting the valve for the dual tanks. That heat shield's got to come off so I can access the mounts that are right above this bracket right here. They mount onto the frame right behind that guy. So I gotta get that heat shield off. Obviously I didn't have to do that on the other side, but let's see what's going on there. And yeah, let's see what we can figure out. All right, well, I think I'm going to call it a night for now. We got the plastic guard off of there. Discovered we got a fairly new tank, so the bolts on those brackets, the ones on the driver's side, they were able to soak for quite some time. I forgot to soak this side, so I'm gonna let those soak in for a little bit, pretty much overnight. And then that way tomorrow morning I can come back out here first thing and get right to it on getting those bolts loose and dropping this tank on out. Everything's pretty much ready to go. It's just those 4 bolts, but it is supper time and I am damn hungry. So I'm gonna go in, fill my belly, get a shower, and probably get started on some editing. So I will be back out here first thing in the morning ish, and see if we can get this other tank dropped and knocked out and figure out what's going on there. So I'll see y'all guys in the morning. All right, next day. So started thinking about it last night. I was like, you know, that tank, it looks pretty good from the outside. Feels, you know, knock on it, sounds good and hollow. I was like, you know what? Maybe that tank was just dry and never really had much to give as far as flushing it out. So looked around the shop, got a jug of gas. I don't know, it's got about 2 or 3 gallons in it. So I figure, hey, what do I got to lose? I'll hook up or pour the gas in the tank and hook up the fuel lines again, get under here and you know, hook all this stuff up and dump that back down to a bucket, move this off of the gas can back down to the feed line, hook up the battery, and come back in here and make sure that I'm switched over to passenger tank. And you know, let's run a few gallons through it. If I ain't got to drop the tank, you know, let's not. So so I think that's what I'm going to do. Is actually I got to hook up the ground strap because I already pulled that. But so I'll hook that ground strap back up and we'll pour a little gas down the yap and see what happens. So I'll get all this stuff set up and yeah, then we'll give it a shot. All right, so there's 2 or 3 gallons in there, somewhere around about that. I may have spilled a few drops. So yeah, made a little bit of a mess, but came back over here, replumbed it. So I got my feed pulling from the fuel line up to the pump. Pump's looped back down, goes down through the little gap down there to my little busket.
I got a busket. Give me $1. A busket?
So let's see what we can find out. sounds so bad. Well, now it's a question of, is my fuel filter clogged up? It is pumping something, and it's not coming out too terribly bad. I mean, she's a little brown, but part of that could just be the crap in the bottom of the bucket. So, it isn't, I mean, it stinks, but it's not like knock your socks off stinks. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this fuel filter off, and it's probably chock full of stuff because that other tank was pretty bad. So so we'll try that, see what happens, and you know, worst case, drop the tank. So I'll be right back. Yeah, fuel pump may have been a little clogged up. So this is the outer screen that that I just pulled off of there. Little gummed up, but yeah, it's not supposed to look like that. So I reckon I ought to clean that up. So let me clean this up a bit, and we'll get right back to it. Yeah, it was pretty bad. All right, let's see what she does now. I'd say that's working a lot better. Well, it's still coming out a little dark, but there's no chunks. It seems to be running really smooth. I don't think I'm going to pull that other tank. I think we're good. I think we got one good tank. And, you know, I've been driving Big John with one tank for, well, pretty much ever since I put it together, because the other tank's, the fuel pump failed on it, and I just never went back to fix it. So it was running and driving at the time. So I wasn't terribly concerned with it. So, all right, fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, I only pumped out maybe a gallon and a half. So I think what we'll do is I think I'm going to hook this guy up to the carburetor, and let's see what happens. Maybe it'll stay running for a little bit. Who knows? So I'll have to open up the garage door and make sure all my flammables are somewhere put up. So let's give that a shot, and let's see if this thing will actually, you know, start and run. So yeah, I'll be right back. Well, other than the fact that it being cold and there's no choke and, you know, whatever, I guess we got a good tank. I mean, you know, I'm tickled because I wasn't really thrilled about dropping the other tank and going, oh, it's okay. So what I'll probably end up doing is once this guy gets to where it's on the road or, you know, running reliably, I'll probably just let this thing run for, you know, a good while and burn, you know, half tank or something like that. That should get the rest of the crap out of there. I did buy a couple of extra filters. That way we can make sure to catch all the trash before it goes ruining, you know, the fuel pump. or getting into the carburetor whenever I finally get around to rebuilding that. And I did remember where my other carburetor was. I was like, I know it's somewhere around here, and I couldn't figure out where I did, what I did with it. It's, yeah, it's sitting right there. So, so we'll slap that guy on there, and should be good to go there. But, hey, I'm tickled. It's great. It's working. One thing we never did do was just even spot check the rear brakes. So let's do that real quick. I don't have anybody out here today to help me again, but I think what I'm going to do is it's in neutral. So brakes, rear end's turning. I can hear a little drag on the brakes. So rear end's turning freely. So I think what I'm going to do is I've got a board in here that I can put on the brake, hold the brake in, and see if we can't turn the wheels or if it gives us any resistance or anything like that. That'll tell us, maybe something, maybe not. But that'll at least give us some sort of indication as to, what's going on. So let me get my board in there and let's see what happens. All right, let's see. Oh man, she's got some brake. A lot of that's probably air in the line, so it's just not. This side's a little tighter. Well, that's good news. So, and while I was up underneath it yesterday, I ended up checking the rear brake line or brake hose, the rubber hose, and that thing's just as flexible as can be. So I'm pretty sure that hose is okay. Not really concerned about it. So I think the next thing to do is going to be to bleed the wheel cylinders, or bleed it, just in front of the wheel cylinders, and get some fresh fluid all the way back there, get the air completely out of the system. So I will work on that at some point this week. It's Christmas Eve actually today, so 67 degrees outside. It's weird, man. So Christmas is tomorrow. I'm actually off for the next week, so I plan on being out here pretty frequently and trying to get a lot of stuff done. The new tires for this truck, I've got all the old ones stacked out there. There was a spare. I'm gonna go ahead and have them break all those tires down, and only ordered 6 tires. I was actually hunting for used tires, and I was finding them. It's really difficult to find a set of 6. I didn't really care if they matched. I just kind of needed roughly the same size, outside diameter. Didn't worry too much about the inside or the width. So, man, I was all over Marketplace hunting for these things, and I finally found 3 different people that were selling sets of 2. I was going to have to spend about 2.5 hours driving around Middle Tennessee to get all these. And I was going to end up spending about $350. I want to say it was $350. Maybe it was $400, and I might be able to talk them down. I don't know. But it was like $350, $400 is what it was going to end up costing, plus, a couple, 2-3 hours of my time just driving around to pick them all up. So I was sitting there looking at that going, you know what, screw this, man. I'm not going to do all that. So I ended up ordering a set off of good old eBay. I think after taxes and everything, free shipping. I think after taxes, it was like $600, $612 or something like that. Ended up getting all 6 tires for $5 something. I don't remember exactly what the cost was, but after taxes, and I was a little over $600. So right around $100 a tire, that ain't bad, especially nowadays. 10-ply even, So I did order a shorter set. I believe these guys that are here, they're actually all different sizes. No 2 tires are the same, and they're legit. They're all different sizes. So the average size between them was right around 30 inches. And I remember when I put the tires on Big John, I want to say they were 28 and a half, something like that, 28 and a half, 29 inches. I don't recall, and frankly, I haven't walked back there to see what size those tires are so I can verify. I want to say they may have been 29. They may have been 29 inches. The tires I ordered the other day, I believe they were 28 and a half. So they're a little bit shorter. Big John's running a 373 rear end. I haven't even looked to see what this rear end is. Maybe I ought to do that. All right, well, no tag on the diff. I could, you know, rotate this guy around and count the pinion turns and do that whole number, or I can just look at the spid in the glove box. From what I can tell, the glove box matches everything else on the truck. So, yeah, 410 gear. It's awesome. This thing's going to be screaming. So, luckily, it won't be doing highway driving much. Hopefully, it won't be doing highway driving. Yeah, 410 gears, and I think they're 28.5-inch tall tires. So, I don't know what that's going to turn into for RPM. She's going to be screaming. Plus, if I lower it, it'll look kind of cool, and it'll just be really just a cruiser and a tower. I mean, it'll be able to really get some grunt going with all that set up. So, well, all right, folks. So it's, you know, about midday now on Christmas Eve. I got things to take care of. Plus, you know, got to edit this. So I do appreciate y'all guys watching. Means a bunch. If you like the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It helps to grow the channel. If y'all guys want to connect with me on social media, I will throw that stuff down in the description. And as always, I do appreciate y'all guys watching. It means a ton. And I really hope everyone has a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the good stuff. So, so y'all guys just remember, it ain't got to be perfect, just good enough. And we'll see y'all next week.